share with you more about, as a developer, about my personal journey into this tower. This tower was a big thing for me and for my company, and I want to share with you how we felt it, how we progressed, and how it came to where we are. The location of the tower is on Rothschild Boulevard, which is a very unique place in Israel. It's like a combination of Fifth Avenue, if you think about Manhattan, Fifth Avenue, the Meatpacking District, and Wall Street, all on the same avenue. Everything that can happen in Israel is happening on this avenue. The State of Israel was declared on Rothschild Boulevard. All the political protests are on Rothschild Boulevard. All the major banks are on Rothschild Boulevard. All the best restaurants are there, all the best galleries. So it's a very significant place to do business, and it was a great respect or a great honor for us to do something that was able to change the boulevard. The boulevard, as I said, was the center of everything. Today, if you do like an exhibition or you ask people about what's the best place in Israel, definitely they will tell you that Rothschild Boulevard is the place. This is where everything is happening, and this is where the center of architecture takes place as well. The historical Bauhaus, the eclectic period, all took place on Rothschild Boulevard. And us, we needed to find a way to make a difference. For us, we were a very young company. We were a young company back in 2006 that I built with Nicholas Berggruen. And we were coming from nowhere. We had the funny name Berggruen. Nobody knew who we are. And we needed to find a way to make a change and to make an impact. So we were thinking about who's going to be our buyers. We were thinking from developer standpoint, who's going to be our buyers? The buyers are going to be the best people or the best people that can buy apartments. There are our tailored audience, meaning there are people from the United States, Jewish Americans, people coming from England, from France, that they have great reference points to other great towers. So we had to build something that would have been a great competition or a great thing for them to be excited about. You know, residential is about an emotional decision to buy a very expensive apartment. So for us, we need to find a way to make them excited and to make our company something that they will desire. It's all about the desirability of the tower, of the apartment, of something that they cannot say no to. Because if you think about high-end residential, eventually, if we're talking about the equivalent of $2,000 to $3,000 a foot, our clients, they had a place to be. They didn't need an apartment. For me as a developer, we needed to find a way to make them want the apartment, to create a desirability that will make them pay the price of these apartments. And for that, we needed to compete on the best clients, the best people that can buy all over the world, and the richest people in Israel that can buy any apartment that they can think of. And these buyers, when they decide to buy, most of them wanted to place in Israel, and hopefully on Rothschild Boulevard. For part of them, it was a second residence, a pied-à-terre. And they wanted to be on a place which is either by the sea or in the center of Rothschild Boulevard. And we were thinking about, okay, how can we create something that will make a difference? How we can create something that will make them desire that? And we were thinking about, okay, let's go and do, we'll take a risk. We'll take an international firm. Before we did, no other Israeli developer took on a residential tower a star architect. We decided, hey, let's take a bold move and let's try to do it. Let's take the best architect we can in order to build the best tower. And we were interviewing Frank Gehry and Norman Foster and Calatrava and Stern. And we decided that we need an architectural firm that can bring the values of Rothschild Boulevard, which is the white city. We need to do something which is beautiful, timeless, and white. And when we sat at the table, we said, okay, what this building should be about? How can we simplify the values that we want to do? And the values were very simple. We need to have the highest possible quality. We're catering the top-notch buyers. We need to do a quality that is without any comparison. We needed to find the best location, and luckily we were able, and from a developer standpoint, it's a great thing that you are able to buy a plot in the center of Rothschild Boulevard, which was the equivalent to Fifth Avenue and 59. So you're in the center of the center. So we said, okay, we're not going to compromise on location, and we were able to find almost 3.9 dunam location in the center of Rothschild Boulevard. And as the cliche says, location, 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 eventually, no doubt this is a major factor when somebody's buying an apartment. We decided also, let's take the best architecture firm which is relevant for residential towers, and that's what we did. We chose Richard Meier and Partners, and we said, okay, if somebody has all the abilities to buy whatever he wants, these are the three factors that he will choose: the best quality and design, the best location, and the best quality. And that was our very bold approach to cater the market and to compete with the very established companies. We were a young company. We didn't have any local legacy. We needed to make a difference, and we needed to make sure that everybody will know that our tower exists, because how else would anybody know? And as I said, we decided to go with Richard Meier and Partners. We went there, we saw their approach to things, and we really liked it. We decided that unparalleled design is the only way for us to make a difference. We need to do something that people will understand that this is it, that there is nothing better that they can choose, because those who are willing to pay $3,000 a foot, they have all the alternatives. They know what's really good, and we need to cater something which is going to be the best in Israel to date. Another factor, we were thinking that doing something beautiful on Rothschild Boulevard will give back to the community. Israel is a young country, 70 years old. Tel Aviv is a young city with no real architectural legacy. We thought that we needed to raise the bar. We needed to do something better in order for people to appreciate the tower, and hopefully for our tower to become a benchmark. Something funny. Municipality, all the developers, everything goes to the municipality. And we were asking to increase the FAR, or the amount of meters that we can. And on our first meeting at the city engineer's place, when we came with Richard Meier and Partners, it was very funny. The city engineer himself ordered cappuccino for everyone, which may sound like nothing, but for Israel, believe me, it is crazy. Never, never, the city engineer will order cappuccino as a symbol. So when Richard Meier and Partner came over and we got the cappuccino, which is something simple, it wasn't. We got a real tailwind from the people in the municipality. They actually loved us. They were able to fall in love with the tower, to fall in love with the vision, to fall in love with our idea of let's raise the bar, let's do something better, let's do something that was never done before. We were young, we were bold, we were energetic, and luckily the municipality came with us, and we were able to get another 10 floors, which from the developer standpoint, it's a major difference from profitability standpoint. Another thing that we are proud of, the building around us today, after the fact that the building was finished like 3 years ago, many other towers took the ideas from or as we like to say, they were inspired by us. And other towers are taking some ideas that we had and are implementing them in their towers. So for us, it's very, very, we're very happy to see that people are taking inspiration from our tower and implementing it in their towers. From the neighborhood standpoint, we were on the corner of Rothschild Boulevard, which is great, and also an Allenby Street, which wasn't that great. It was very much like Canal Street. But what happened is that after we built the tower, and everybody saw that it's something magnificent, even Allenby Street, which wasn't that great, became a better street. The area near the tower became better, the land was more expensive, the developers were able to invest more in their development, and actually around the tower and around Allenby, small but beautiful buildings are being built. So in a way, the tower changed how the architecture and how the business and the development is made. As for challenges, it was very funny. We were a young country doing the construction. We were having the royal team from New York flying over, speaking English, having these blueprints, etc. And we were sitting with very hardcore people that never speak English, never see international firms, never see that. They're just hardcore people who are building. And we needed to bridge the gap between the vision, the detail, and the specifications into people who are really ready to work on simple things, on hard concrete, and just do stuff which is totally different. So we had to spend a lot of time into bridging the gap. Culture difference, another thing is that we were able to, when we were to the municipality in Israel, we have great weather, great food, but we have war every like 5 years. So unfortunately, what happened is that we need to have a bomb shelter on every apartment, which is made of concrete. So it was a huge challenge to explain the Richard Meier partners how we need to build a bomb shelter on every apartment. So that was a crazy culture difference. But luckily, they did it magnificently. They put the core, they put the bombshell attached to the core and kept the beautiful facade. The last thing, when we started with a young company doing something very bold, very courageous, it was like a recipe for a disaster. But working hard with great partners, like we had a great CM, Vaxon Govrin and Israel David, we had a great team, and with Richard Meier and partners, we were able to build something that eventually proven to be extremely profitable for us. Our tenant doubled the value of their apartments, and the whole neighborhood and the city gained a beautiful tower that today is becoming a benchmark for future towers. So Rennie, thank you very much for the work you've done, and the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Yigal. I'm humbled to be here and to bring the work of so many good people over quite a long time that it took to bring this building to fruition. The Rothschild Tower is uniquely designed for its place in the vibrant Mediterranean capital city of Tel Aviv. It's driven by a number of local challenges, some of which you have already heard about from Dana and Moshe. The first is its cultural setting. It's in the heart of the White City, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where there are thousands of Bauhaus buildings from the 1930s and 40s. But for us, this is very comfortable. It's like having a conversation with Mendelssohn or Le Corbusier or Mies. We are right at home. The second issue was a prominent corner site. It is at the nexus of two green arteries here. Oops. Sorry. It's at the nexus of two green arteries of culture and commerce. Yigal spoke about Rothschild Boulevard, the gracious civic promenade, and Allenby Street, which is this is the character of Rothschild Boulevard, and Allenby Street, an important commercial artery. The third issue was on the environmental side, to develop a sustainable approach to this arid desert climate, which has tended to generate, around the time we began this project, a crop of fairly anonymous solid or reflective glass buildings. This building is a simple, graceful 42-story residential tower resting lightly on a retail base. It has connectivity to its own retail arcade, restored in a through-block connection from Allenby to Yavne behind the building. It has helped, that retail assembly has helped embed the building and its residents in the pulse of the neighborhood. And the building was also designed with Bauhaus principles in mind. Our goals for such a large building in a sensitive setting was to tread as lightly as possible. And for us, that meant a building of lightness and transparency in order to reduce its scale and mass. That was important for three reasons. One, in the context of the low-rise neighborhood, to distinguish it from, again, the relatively scaleless reflective towers in the vicinity at the time. And third, and also importantly, to express the optimism and the openness and the energy of modern Tel Aviv. The mechanism for that was a clear glass facade protected from the desert sun by a delicate louver screen. The screen is an elegant white veil inspired by several things: the vented protective layers of Middle Eastern clothing, traditional Middle Eastern clothing, and local architectural precedents in the ubiquitous trisim, which are these louver blinds enclosing open-air porches and carved spaces common to existing Bauhaus buildings. It is a layer that both defines and obscures the distinction between public space and the private realm. The screen itself is based on Bauhaus principles, which have to do with functionality, simple, well-organized solutions, an economy of means that comes from simple mass-produced materials, an order and geometry of a repetitive planning module, which shows up in both the facade screen system and the plan. This is a typical apartment floor. It is a very small floor plate, and it is an efficient assembly based on that 3.60 m module of the screen, which is also a very good basic room module in this plan. There is a tight assembly of served versus service spaces around the core. There are 2 service bars on either side of the elevators and stairs that have not only the shear wall, but cup the services against which we back all the wet areas for the apartments. This plan gives, the modularity of this plan and its small floor plate also create a tremendous amount of flexibility. There's a simple diversity of apartment sizes where one can take a quarter floor, a half a floor, or a full floor. The apartments themselves are, you get the feel of the screen and the balcony. Here, there's a terrific quality of diffuse light in the plan and a simple, very, very simple material palette. No surprises there. The ground floor has lobby and retail spaces that are spare and lofty and open. There is a garden amenity to the lobby that helps soften the compression between this building and the neighboring bank building. And there's a large food court arcade underneath these amenities, which are behind the building, on top of it, a pool, a spa, and lounges. In terms of contributions, I like to think that we've designed the building to recognize its role in the city. There are gestures at different scales to the base and the shaft and the top. At the street level, the building is lifted on piloti with an undulating glass wall that moves in deference to the importance of this street corner. It is transparent and lofty, and I would like to think this helps create a vibrant streetscape there. At the scale of the neighborhood, the tower, louver, screen elements are obviously based in the local architectural precedents, and the changing light and shadow across the day gives the facade a tremendous tactile quality. And at the scale of the city, at the top of the building, we make a signature gesture to Tel Aviv and the importance of views to the sea, which also helps us conveniently camouflage the staggered configurations of the step-back penthouse terraces behind a large urban window facing the Mediterranean. In terms of sustainability, the layered facade is obviously a bioclimactic response to the desert sun. The louvered screen, and we use the louvered screen to protect an already high-performance unitized glass curtain wall. Oops. Surprise. The floor plate and massing were, again, grouped around service and wet areas, keeping service and wet areas tight to the core that tends to liberate the plan. for daylight, ventilation, and views. And this is my reminder to acknowledge the really important local contributions of our collaborators. The local architect Moti Kassif of BLK has been a wonderful guide and is like a brother to me. Many of these people have taken my family into theirs, and I am grateful for all these relationships as much as I am for the thing that we leave behind. It's a special place with special people. Thank you.